In this lesson, we will be covering how to create a rectangular pattern of a feature and also of the entire part. The file that I have open is rectangularpattern.ipt, and it's located in your Chapter 4 exercise folder. Before I start, I want to take a look at the front view here so you understand the geometry that I have drawn here. So you notice we have a horizontal line, and then we have two angle lines. From an isometric view, it kind of looks like they're horizontal and vertical, but they're not. So what I want to do is I want to take that cylinder and I want to create a pattern of that. So from the Part Features panel, I'm going to go ahead and click on Rectangular Pattern. And then for the feature, you'll see the arrow is red. I'm going to select that cylinder. Now for direction 1, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to select an edge on the part. And these edges do not have to be horizontal and vertical. So in this case, it's going in the wrong direction. So I'm going to flip that direction. And I'm going to say I want to have 5 of them with a spacing of 15 millimeters. There's also an option right up here to do a midplane, where, as you can see, they'll go in both directions evenly. In this case, that's not what I want, so I will uncheck that. And if that's all that you want it to do, then you would go ahead and click on OK. In this case, I also want to have some going in direction 2, so I'm going to go ahead and click on direction 2 arrow. And I'm going to select the other edge of the part. Again, you'll notice that that wasn't was not vertical. It's an angle line. It could be horizontal, could be vertical, does not matter. And I'm going to change the count to 3, and let's also change that spacing to 15 as well. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to bring the browser up so we can take a better look at what we have here. So in the browser now, you'll notice that we have rectangular pattern. And each of these are an occurrence. So as I move my cursor over them in the browser, I can go back, and let's say, for example, I wanted to put another feature right in the middle of that part. I can right-click and click Suppress, and it'll turn the visibility of that part back off. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if I go back and edit that pattern? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to right-click, Edit Feature, or of course double-click on the pattern. And let's change the count from 5 to 6. And you'll notice that same component is still suppressed. And I can always come back and right-click and unsuppress that. Now what I'd like to do is I want to come back and I want to add another feature. For example, let's say I want to place in a fillet on this bottom edge. So you'll notice at this point that fillet did not occur on the patterned features. So let's examine why is that. Well, if I went back right now and let's minimize that for a second. If I edit feature and I want to go back and add the fillet, you'll notice it does not appear on the screen. And the reason it doesn't appear on the screen is because it's occurring after the pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the fillet above the pattern. So let me minimize that so you can see it. So now I have my extrusion 1, 2, and the fillet. So now if I double click on the pattern, let's edit that. And now click on the feature. I'm going to add the fillet. And if by chance you have a hard time selecting it in the graphics window, you can always select it in the browser. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And you'll see that the fillet was now added. I can also go back with the pattern tool, and you can do the entire part. So in this case, we'll just select it. And let's do 3 of them at 100 millimeters. And in this case, let's go back and reselect direction 1, selected the wrong edge. Let's reverse that. And you could also do the same if you wanted to for direction 2. to have it go back up a certain number of units. Let's try 50, see what that looks like. And you'll notice as soon as I said 50, the dialog box popped up telling me what I should consider doing to increase the performance. If I go ahead and click OK on that, if I expand the dialog box, down here where we have the compute, optimized and identical. So the identical is that the features are going to be exactly the same as they are here. In an optimized pattern, the database is going to do a faster calculation. So if you go over 50 occurrences, that's what Inventor is going to suggest that we do. In the circular pattern exercise, I will talk about what the adjust does. But for now, I'm going to take that back to identical. I'm going to change that back to 5 and change the spacing to 50. See what that looks like. The nice part is you always get the preview image. So we can update that. Go ahead, click OK. And I now have my completed part.